Hi there, welcome to lesson number 2 on goals and resolutions and the best way to systemize your goals and resolutions. So I would like to do a quick recap on, the things we talked about in our first lesson. We first tried to define what a goal is and what a resolution is, because what we're trying to do there is to draw a line between a goal and a resolution, even though we know they have a lot of common ground. And one of the things that we're able to come up with in defining our goal and resolution is that goals have lifetime values. Goals have milestone values, and resolutions have lifetime values. Goals expire once the result has been achieved, or the goal or the objective for which that goal has been set has been achieved. And then for resolutions, we say that it takes an entire lifetime. It is fresh every day, because you have to face that action and determine to become that person or that resolution you've made on a daily basis. Also, we talked about, the first things that you need to do before you start, and we're able to identify 3 major things that you should go through at the back of your mind. The why you're setting the goal and the resolution. We also talked about checking your reality in terms of understanding what your current situation is and the reality of your current situation in terms of the goals that you're setting. And then finally, we talked about cost. Yes, in cost, we were looking at, okay, what is it going to cost you, to achieve these goals, or what is it going to cost you to achieve or fulfill that resolution? Is it going to cost you people? Is it time? Is it money? And we had that conversation. So for today, lesson number 2, we're going to be looking at the 4 things that must characterize, your resolution, your goals and your resolution. And I've identified, these 4 words here: expectations, direction, discipline, and value. And why is that? And you will see all of them reflect in all of the things that we've talked about, especially for the first video. You will see that I said that the first common thing that must characterize, or that you must start from for both your resolution and also your goal, is that you first must go through a decision-making process, okay? And that decision-making process is a cognitive process. That is why you have to go through conscious deliberation and right thinking. And that decision-making process is what gives back to what your expectations are at the end of the day. So the entire process of what we went through our first video was to try to guide you through a particular route to help you, do a thorough thinking process, so much so that as you go through that expectation, as you go through the thinking, as you go through the right kind of thinking, you are coming out with a proper kind of expectation. And you might have initiative, because your expectation might also be an initiative for you to encourage you, to pick up on the goals and resolutions. I also talked about direction. Direction here is the second characteristic that you must see within your goal and your resolution. Now, what do I mean by direction showing up in your goal and your resolution? That's pretty interesting. And this is because you have to have a clarity of purpose. And this is where your why comes into play. Why are you setting the goal? What are you hoping to achieve? When you achieve it, what's the purpose of it? So if you're setting a goal and I'm setting a resolution, fulfilling that resolution and achieving that goal has to have a purpose behind it. There has to be a reason why I've set those things. I can't just set goals just for the purpose of just marking it that I've set a goal. There has to be a clear direction. So if I am setting a New Year resolution to be healthier, then it means that I am setting myself a purpose. My purpose now is health. And for that reason, every other goal that I set has to go into that particular, has to have a direction. So this is like a pointer. So your goals will always have a pointer, a direction, because you understand the purpose for which they are set. Then commitment to objective speaks to discipline. Okay, so I've set the goals, yes, and every time you set a goal or you define a New Year resolution, there has to be a series of activities that you must follow through on a daily basis that ensures that you are able to achieve those goals and meet up with the objectives. If you don't define those series of activities, those are things that you'll be doing on a daily basis, then you'll have a challenge in terms of being able to meet up with your goals, because this is where systemizing your goals comes into play. So once you've defined those series of activities that you want to do, you've broken it down to activities you do on a daily basis every day. You have to have the discipline to follow through. And you have to be able to see the discipline that it requires while you're setting those goals. So if it requires that, okay, you're going to give off your evenings to be going to school every day, you have to be able to see that. If you're going to be getting fit and you insist that, okay, you have to give up, sitting, watching movies, sitting on the couch, just hanging out with friends and drinking, and stop taking alcohol or stop smoking, or require you to visit the gym, you know that your discipline now is the gym, especially if you are going to be working towards either better health or a better looking body. So you have to have all of those things evident in your goal and resolution. And finally, this speaks to continuity. I'm talking about values here. So you have to understand the value. What value does this activity bring to you? What value does the goal you set bring to you? What value does that priority that you've set, what does it add into your life? Or does the life of the other people around you, of your loved ones, or the community as a whole? You need to be able to see the objectives in terms of the value, in terms of all of these 4 characteristics must be present in your goals. So once you see those values, you must understand that, okay, this is where my value lie. This is why I want to, set these goals, because it is doing so and so for either me, or it's doing so, it's bringing this kind of value for this person. You know, to be able to write that down and enjoy. So the next thing we want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, will be what are the steps you need to take to systemize your goals and resolutions. Because, ladies and gentlemen, systemizing it simply means that you put everything throughout this entire process, and then you're going to be determining what it is that, you look at your goals, you put it through a sieve, and then it's going to help you determine the best ways, to make sure that you fulfill your resolutions or achieve your goals. And I came up with a method that I call the CPD method. And this is just a brief introduction. I'm going to bring up another video where I'm going to be talking, in full detail about the CPD, because I have some other videos that I have to do, to actually speak to a few elements, on this framework. So I call this the CPD framework. Again, this is just an introduction to it. I'm going to make another video that is going to be part of this training series, of course, that is going to speak to the CPD itself as a whole. But this here is just an introduction to give you a general idea of what CPD. And you will have to wait for my next video to get the full meaning of C, P, and D, what this acronym stands for, and I'll break it down to you. But here under C, ladies and gentlemen, you will see clarity, commitment, and continuity. All of these things also speak to the 4 characteristics I just showed you about setting your goals and your resolutions. So we have clarity, we have commitment, we have continuity under C. Under P, yes, we have purpose, we have passion, and we have practice. And under D, there's decision, discipline, and determination. Now, you can use a combination of this. There's a reason why we have this middle column and each of these columns here that speak to specific things in determining how you resolve, how you make your goals, or how you design your resolutions. So this is here the framework that will help you fully design, the kind of goals and resolutions that you want for the year. So this is what I want you to look at briefly from this particular image that I have on the screen here. So we have here clarity, and you can look at it from this point. Every single letter in each of this column has a transverse effect across the other columns. What do I mean? For clarity, I can have a clarity of purpose, like I defined as part of the characteristics that your goal must have, and then I have a decision. Remember, your characteristics that I showed you was that decision making must be there, which is your initiative or the expectations that you have for that goal, and then you must have clarity of purpose. So here, you need to understand what purpose really is in the first place. So when we talk about purpose, what really are we referring to? A lot of people will talk about, find your goal, find your purpose, your purpose in life, follow your mission, follow your passion, that kind of thing, So I'm going to be looking at it from the horizontal and vertical axis. So I can look at clarity, purpose, and decision, and I can look at clarity, commitment, and continuity. I can look at commitment, passion, and discipline. So I'm committed to my passion, and I understand the discipline that it requires, to fulfill that passion. Because if you have a passion, we have to be able to talk about what is the difference of what a passion is and what purpose is. And then we're going to be looking at each and every one of them. So I'm committed, to my passion, and it requires a certain kind of discipline. I'm going to explain that in terms of, so I'm setting my goals. What in the area of my goals, how can I expand it to have meaning in my life? So I'll give you a great example now. Let's say I decide that part of my New Year resolution is to become more spiritual, right? I want to be more involved in my form of religion, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, or any other kind of religion. And I've made up my mind that, okay, this year, I want to be a deeper person. I want to experience I want to have deeper spiritual experiences. You want to be more committed to your house of worship. You want to, do whatever it is that you do, at a higher level. Now, if you're making a goal and a resolution, you have to think of three things here in terms of that. You have to think of what your purpose, you have to run it through your CPD framework to determine, have a clarity as to what you intend to achieve in your spiritual exercise. So if I say that I want to have a deeper spiritual fulfillment or deeper spiritual experience, when I say experience, it's large. When I say spiritual, what does it mean to me as an individual? What do I understand by spiritual? Is it the state of worship? Is it a state of being in terms of whether I'm in church, outside of church, or in a mosque, outside of the mosque, or whatever my house of worship? Is it a state of being? Is it a mentality that I'm going to carry? You want to process that and think through whether you have clarity on what you've determined it to be in terms of what you think your spirituality to be. And once you've understood that, what is the purpose of it? Why are you being spiritual? Yeah? Why are you being spiritual? If you tell yourself, okay, I want to become a spiritual person, what is the purpose of it? Why? Why do you need to be a spiritual person? Is there value at the end of it? What is the purpose and why is it taking you to? And then you have to make a decision. So if you make a decision, what does that mean in terms of spirituality? Your decision is going to be an action you've made up your mind to follow through with discipline and with determination. So you see, again, you can go vertical in this line and you can go horizontal with this line. So I've gone clarity, purpose, and decision. Now, if I'm making a decision, do I need to be disciplined about that decision I'm making? And do I need to be determined about what I've made in that decision? So if I made a decision to experience more spirituality, and I've understood what it means to me in terms of spiritual clarity, I understand the purpose of why I want to be more spiritual. Now I've made a decision in that particular regard. The question now is, since I've made that decision and I understand my purpose and I have clarity, do I need to be disciplined? Do I need to be committed? What will I need to do to make sure that I continue this practice of being spiritual over a period of time? And how determined would I be anytime something challenges, that particular status quo or that resolution? So what the CPD framework does for you is to help you through the questioning of your goals and resolutions, to help you determine, in an easier way, why you are doing what you are doing, and to use this as a check and balance to determine, okay, exactly where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, what do you need to do, and what is it going to give you the power to do this, to be able to achieve this. So like I said, in my next lesson, I am going to be introducing the CPD framework, and we're going to dive deep into it. But the first things I'll have to do, first of all, before we go deeper and I reveal what this these letters stand from, this acronym CPD stand from. I would like to take you through purpose and what it means to find your purpose. And I'm going to be using an old Japanese philosophy to help you, determine what your purpose is. And from there, we'll be able to determine passion. And then we'll be looking at the role of practice and all these other, elements on the board in determining how to use that framework and how to help you establish your goals for the future. So I'd like to say thank you once again for spending this time with me again and honoring me with your time to listen to these ideas I have to share with you. I'll see you again in my next lesson when we talk about CPD framework. Thank you.